What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm Chase Lee, reviewing for DallasMoviescreenings.com. I slipped up there for a second, sorry about that. And the movie I want to take a look at right now is the Aeronauts. Now, this one comes from Amazon Studios, is directed by Tom Harper, and this one tells the story of Amelia Rennes, played by Felicity Jones, and James Glaisher, played by Redmayne, and they live in London, 1862, and they join their knowledgeable forces together as James is a scientist and Amelia is a pilot. They go on this hot air balloon ride, and they go straight up, and they try to go as far as they can go because at this point in time in history, people have not reached those types of heights before. I mean, in this movie, they go 30,000 plus feet in the air, which is insane in that time frame. But the reason why they're doing this scientific experiment is so they can kind of keep track of, when does the temperature change and what does the weather look like the further you go up, and, maybe even discovering different layers of the atmosphere. And they're doing all that and bringing that information back down to Earth so they can predict weather and, have these future forecasts for, people. That way, like if a storm is coming or some really bad weather is coming, they can predict this and tell people and, keep people safe. And so that's what they want to do. But of course, like all movies with scientific, prompts, people in the town are dubious. They want nothing to do with it. They're like, this is never gonna work. I know everything, and they're just like, no, trust me, it's gonna work. I want to do this experiment. They're like, no, science, what's that? So there's people that doubt them the whole entire time, but they want to do this experiment anyways to prove them wrong, and it's really dangerous at that. So, going into this movie, I saw the first trailer to it. I thought it looked solid, and I was like, Amazon Studios is on a roll this year with Honey Boy and The Report, so let's give this a shot. And so I saw the movie, and it's solid. I like it. It's not anything spectacular. It's not anything that's going to blow your mind, but for something that I thought was going to be kind of just okay, it, bumped up my likeness on this movie just a tad bit more. And so I'm going to start with the performances on this one, and then we'll work from there. I think Redmayne and Felicity Jones, they're good in the movie. They're serviceable in their roles, and I think they, I think with whatever movie they do, whether it is good or bad, they give 120%. I mean, they're always committed actors in any movie that they do, and they do a good job in this movie really selling us on this survival adventure that they go on. The stakes are really high in this adventure, and I think they sell it to us, especially when you're acting in front of a giant green screen for most of the time, I think. And now, obviously, I'm sure they got some shots with actual environments, but for the most part, when they're actually up that high, you're dealing with a lot of green screen work, so you're acting against nothing, and I think they did a good job. Now, the downside to them acting extremely well in some scenes is the cinematography. Now, a lot of this cinematography is handheld, especially when they're up there in the air. It's handheld, it's a little wobbly, and it gets into these really extreme close-ups showing these kind of facial performances from these actors, giving us a really kind of claustrophobic POV look and feel of this entire situation. And like I said, the downside to that is that you're getting so close to these actors that when they're performing these really intense and emotional scenes where sometimes they are, we see their eyes water up and they start crying, the camera is so close that it kind of takes away from that impact a little bit, and you're just really kind of focused on this awkward, really insane kind of close up on their face rather than the actual performance of the actor. It's not throughout the entire movie. It's just a couple of scenes. I get why they wanted to do it. I get it, because when you're dealing with this kind of like really intense situation and very perilous situation, you want to make the audience feel like they're there. And I get the need to have the camera kind of float inside of the basket and really focus on them, and like it feels like you're there, you're moving with them, and I get that. But there's a couple times where Eddie or Felicity are really giving a powerful scene, but the camera is so close that it gives this weird fisheye wide lens to it that's all I'm focusing on. So it's a little distracting. It's not the entire movie, like I said, just on a couple spots. But honestly, that's the worst part about this movie. And it's the only bad part about this movie. So it takes away from some of their performances. So let's get into the directing a little bit. Tom Harper. Now, I have not seen his previous movie that he did this year as well. I think it came out last year, but it's starting to trickle through this year, especially with awards considerations. Wild Rose. I've heard nothing but great things. So he is a really good director. And this movie proved to me that I need to check out Wild Rose even sooner than I thought. Excuse me. I thought he directed this movie quite well. Now, all the stuff that happens on the ground, whether it be, Felicity Jones's character interacting with family members, or Himesh Patel's character, or Eddie Redmayne interacting with, some of the, government people. I mean, that stuff is pretty standard. It's shot well. The production design is really on point. And it's, the type of tropes that we see in these type of movies. Like I said, a lot of doubt, a lot of, people just not believing what they're saying, and they have to prove them wrong. And with Felicity Jones's character, there's something that happened with her husband in the movie, so she's got a lot of she's not ready to go back up there. So it's pretty, it's fine. The stuff on the ground level is fine. When they are up there, that is some exhilarating filmmaking. One of the things I really enjoyed about Harper's direction is not only are some of the intense, perilous scenes really well done and you are on the edge of your seat, he makes a conscious decision to eliminate music and most of the sound throughout the scene. So there's a lot of, especially when they're in like 35,000 feet, right? You have a situation where, they have to fix something. That's all I'll say. And there's a lot of climbing involved, a lot of, panting, a lot of rustling with the ropes. And that's all you hear is like just this minimal sound of these characters doing the things that they're doing. And there's no music, there's no loud cues, there's no artificial anything to make you feel anything. You're just watching them do it, and it makes your palms sweat because it feels like they're actually doing it. All sound is eliminated, and all you're doing is just hearing the actions of their movement. It was incredible, and it really kind of gets you into the zone when you're watching it, and it really makes the situation more intense and more emotional and more high risk for these characters, especially when you eliminate sound like that. It makes it more investive. So that's great on Harper's part. And the last thing I really wanted to say about this movie, because like I said, there's not really much to talk about, are the VFX work and the green screen work. When I first saw the trailer to this movie, I was a little skeptical because I was like, they have to pull this off. Everything that's, in the hot air balloon, past a certain point is green screen work. I think actually most of it's green screen, but I could be wrong. They could have shot on location with like stunt doubles or whatever, but I think for the most part, it's green screen. It is impressive. It reminded me of when I saw Ad Astra for the first time and how impressive and how intricate and detailed that VFX work was. And that applies here too. Like the skies, the ground, the atmosphere around them, it all felt real. As real as it could be. Now you sit there and watch it. If you want to be a snob about it, you can go, that's green screen, that's VFX. I get you. But it's really hard to convince people to suspend their disbelief that these people are actually up there like that. And I thought they did that flawlessly. It's really, really impressive. VFX work. I really enjoyed that quite a bit, and it just makes the experience more palpable. And you're just sitting there watching, like, oh my god, they're actually like up there, hanging off of these ropes or like dangling. It's crazy how good the VFX work is. And Harper knew that. He knew if he was going to make a movie like this, most of it was going to be CGI, and you have to make it convincing. And it is really well done. Subverted my expectations through the roof. But the VFX work and the green screen work is quite impressive. But yeah, there's really nothing more to this movie. It's a survival tale. What I just told you is basically the whole movie. Yeah. So if you like survival tales, or if you like period pieces or period piece survival tales, I think this is the one for you. I'm going to give the Aeronauts a B. Just to give you a little context, I saw it in a theater. My friend, who is also a critic in a critic organization, saw it via screener. So he saw it at home. I saw it in a theater, and we both had the same reaction to this movie. So if you want to see it in the theater, go for it. You want to see it at home? Go for it. It hits Amazon Prime this weekend as well as theaters. I thought for a theatrical experience, everything in the hot air balloon was worth it in the theater. So take that for what you will. But I'm going to give the Aeronauts a B. Good movie. Really nothing more, nothing less. There you go. So let me know what you thought about this movie down below. And if you could, please like this review, subscribe to my channel for all future reviews and whatever I do. And you guys will get the latest and greatest in that. That was a terrible tagline, but you guys get the deal. So that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.